Hey everyone, great to see you back here on another video on the Movie Vault. My name is Rob. In this video we are going to rank the Terminator movies from best to worst, worst to best, whatever way you put that. And in this video I just want to remind you guys, be aware that this is my list. You don't have to agree with the list. This list is not the correct list. Your list is the correct list. So I want you to get involved. For some fun, let me know in the comments what is your ranking of the 6 Terminator movies. So the Terminator franchise started in 1984 under the vision of director James Cameron. It spawned 6 movies, 2 series of a TV show and a theme park ride, just to name a few things. I will remind you before we get into the ranking here that this video will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movies and you don't want them spoiled, just keep that in mind before we move forward with this video here. Let's get into the ranking. Coming in at number 6 on my ranking here is Terminator Genisys from 2015. Let's talk about the good. What I did like about the movie, I like the general idea that Skynet has kind of evolved or transformed into an operating software called Genisys that's basically going to get into virtually every device, phones, computers, tablets, iPads, all that sort of stuff. Really cool concept. I did like that about Terminator Genisys. This kind of goes as a good and a bad for me. I like the fact that they kind of reshot the opening of the original Terminator movie and kind of created a different alternative timeline here in Terminator Genisys. That was a really cool idea when I first saw this movie. The bad, let's talk about what I don't like about Terminator Genisys. I'm not a big fan of skewing away from previous kind of timelines or disregarding previous movies. They completely ignore everything that was done in the previous movie, Terminator Salvation, and they kind of go off on a new tangent in this one. I mentioned that they reshot the opening of the original Terminator movie a couple of seconds ago. CG Arnie looks terrible, looks bad. I don't know why they do this sometimes. I understand they want to get young Arnie in there in the opening, but I thought the CG looks terrible. It kind of takes me out of the movie for a couple of moments there at the start of this film. Altered timeline, as I mentioned, they kind of redo a new timeline there at the start of the original movie within Terminator Genisys. I just kind of felt rewatching this one here, they kind of make Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese look a bit kind of incapable of doing what they're supposed to be doing in this kind of altered timeline. I don't know if that came across for you guys watching this one, but it did for me rewatching this. They just come across a little bit incapable at the start of this movie. Last thing I did not like about Terminator Genisys is making John Connor the bad guy. I did not like that at all. It's been drilled into us from the start of this franchise. John Connor is the guy to, save everything and lead the humans, the resistance against the machines, and defeat them. And they just kind of disregard all that by turning John Connor into a Terminator in this movie. Coming in at number 5 on my ranking here is 2019's Terminator Dark Fate. Let's talk about some good and bad things here I liked and didn't like about this one. The good, it has a nice nostalgic feel to it. We get Linda Hamilton and Arnie back on screen together. Really cool to see. It kind of feels like it's coming off the heels of maybe the success of Halloween 2018, where they brought back Jamie Lee years later. Let's do the same with Linda Hamilton. Let's bring back Sarah Connor and disregards previous sequel timelines, and as I mentioned, I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm kind of on the fence with Terminator Dark Fate for those reasons. The bad, I've already mentioned it, but CG, so they kind of go with this alternative timeline once again, and they kind of have this CG de-aging kind of effect on Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger in a scene, and I'm not a fan of it. It just, once again, it kind of takes me out of the movie for a moment. It looks, one scene really bothered me was Linda Hamilton is kind of sitting there as like younger Sarah Connor, and the breeze is supposed to be blowing her hair, and it's just like this slow motion kind of wave on her hair, and it just completely takes me out of the moment in the movie. It just looks so fake. This is a huge spoiler, guys, for this one. What I did not like about Terminator Dark Fate, and a big problem I have with this movie, is they completely ruin anything established in the first 2 movies, and they kill off John Connor in the opening kind of scenes of this movie here, and it really bothers me. That's why I'm really on the fence about Terminator Dark Fate. It's really annoying. This kind of takes place in, I guess, another alternative timeline that, from my understanding, takes place shortly after the events of Terminator 2, where John Connor is killed. I understand they need that scene to set up what happens later on in the movie, but I did not like that at all. Really big fail in my opinion on that storyline plot point there in this one. They keep pushing this new Danny character as she's the one that has to be saved. She's the one, she's the new John Connor. I think they even say that as a line in the movie, but they never really explain why. Why is she the new John Connor? What is she going to do in the future? What will she become? Unless I missed a huge scene in the movie there, guys, I didn't see the point of why this character was so important and why she needed to be saved in this movie. It just felt like a movie for nostalgia's sake. Let's just bring back Linda Hamilton. Ignore she has died in previous movies there. Forget about that. She's back. It creates more alternative timelines just to confuse things more. Like, Terminator can be kind of confusing enough at times as it is, you know, in the simplest of times, without kind of throwing in more alternative timelines at us. And I just, for those reasons, and John Connor being kind of killed off at the start of the movie, I didn't like this one at all. Coming in at number 4 in my ranking here is 2003's Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. I have fond memories. This is the first Terminator movie I got to run on 35mm film as a projectionist, and I have some good and some bad things to say about it here. The good, here's what I liked about Terminator 3. We get to see some sort of story continuity from the first two movies. We get to see John Connor growing up. He's really struggling with what he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to become. I really liked that. That was a really good kind of storyline, story plot point, I guess, in this movie for me. I was a really big fan of that. Introducing Kate, who would be John Connor's future wife in Terminator 3, was a really interesting story point in here for me, and it will be carried on in the next movie in the franchise, which would be Terminator Salvation. That's another plus from me. We finally get to see Judgment Day. You know, that's a funny thing to be kind of happy about here, but it's been drilled into us again over and over and over in the first two movies. Judgment Day, we have to stop Judgment Day. It can't happen. We've stopped it. Oh no, we haven't. We've stopped it again. No, we haven't. And we finally get to see, like, the bombs go off, I guess, or whatever, at the end of Terminator 3 here. No matter what happened, Judgment Day could not be stopped, and I really liked that in this movie. I thought that was a cool kind of plot point here to end Terminator 3. No matter what they did, Judgment Day was going to happen. Everything was going ahead. There was nothing they could do about it, and we finally get to see John Connor in the bunker. He's going to become what he was prophesized to be all along. And I really like that at the end of Terminator 3. The end of Terminator 3 sets up John and Kate in a post-Judgment Day kind of world. Sets them up for another movie in the franchise, which will come, albeit by other directors and stuff like that. Really kind of progresses the franchise, in my opinion. We want to see Judgment Day. We want to see John Connor in these wars with the Terminators, with Skynet. And it's another step getting to that point. The bad... God, where do you even start with Terminator 3 here? It tries to be funny way too much for what it is. It doesn't need to be funny at all. You know, the first two Terminator movies were quite serious. I want to say they were rated 18s and 15s or 18s and 12s over here. This movie almost feels at times like it's aimed at a pre-teens market, like, you know, 10, 11, 12, maybe, you know, early teens. There was no need for it at all. They could have made it a bit more serious, and that would have been a much better movie, in my opinion. Visual effects, they are super bad to look back at now in 2021 when I'm making this video here. They look terrible to look back at. I like practical stuff, and there's just way too much visual effects in this movie for my liking. Coming in at number 3 on my ranking here is 2009's Terminator Salvation. Again, I had great memories of running this on 35mm film, working as a projectionist. Really cool to see Christian Bale in there as John Connor. Let's get into the good and the bad about this one. Let's talk about the good here. First things first, we finally get to see adult John Connor in a post-Judgment Day apocalyptic world, fighting the machines, fighting Skynet, fighting the Terminators. We finally get to see it at last, 4 movies in. I really like that John Connor is kind of a low-level guy in the Resistance, trying to work his way up to be who he is supposed to be. Christian Bale, I thought, was a great John Connor. I really liked him. I thought it would have been good to see more of him in the role of John Connor, but unfortunately we never got to see that. The bad, what I didn't like about Terminator Salvation, Sam Worthington's character was terrible. I thought Sam Worthington was terrible in the movie, I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't like his character in the movie. I felt, rewatching here, you know, all these years later, I felt his character was just there to facilitate what happens at the end of the movie, get John into Skynet and all that for the finale. I wasn't a big fan of that kind of storyline, plot point in the movie. The Sam Worthington character, didn't like it at all. Speaking of that ending, so the half Terminator, half human Sam Worthington character donates his human heart to save John Connor. That was a bad idea in my opinion. I didn't like that. The movie as a whole, I overall liked. Sometimes, guys, they just get to the end of these movies and I don't know what they're thinking. Really bad finale in my opinion. Didn't like it at all. Coming in at number 2 on my ranking here is T2 Judgment Day from 1991. What a movie. James Cameron comes back. He makes this movie bigger, badder, and in some people's opinions better than the original. And a fantastic movie here. The T-1000, the Liquid Terminator, is a brilliant, awesome idea. Really love that in this movie. Robert Patrick plays him brilliantly. Lots of action, never ending at some point. Really, really great movie. Finally, coming in at number 1 in my ranking of the Terminator movies here is The Terminator from 1984, the original. I had seen nothing like this. I first saw this when I was a young kid and I had never seen anything like this at all. Fantastic movie for its time. Amazing special effects by Stan Winston. Really, really awesome. I guess other than maybe seeing Conan, you know, when I was younger, this was the first time I was really aware of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and what a role for him in this one. Just upon rewatching all the movies here, I probably would have said before I sat down to rewatch them, T2 was going to be my number 1 choice. But when I rewatched them all here, something about the original Terminator just kind of nudged T2 for me. I just felt it was a little bit better. I can't really explain to you guys. I just preferred the original, The Terminator, over T2 here for this ranking. Sometimes you can't beat the originals, even though T2 is bigger, badder, better, and all that sort of stuff. Nothing beats the original for my liking. It sets everything up brilliantly to move forward in the franchise, even though they kind of go way askew with some of those movies further on down the line. Nothing beats the original in my opinion. Okay guys, there you have it. That is my ranking of the Terminator movie franchise. Once again, let me know down in the comments, guys, what is your ranking of these 6 Terminator movies? Are you kind of, you know, the original 2? How do you feel after that? They kind of go in various different directions. Kind of feels like it's all over the place at sometimes. And rewatching these movies all in sequence here kind of really emphasizes that for me. But yeah, let me know in the comments, you guys, what are your favorite Terminator movies? Of course, if you liked the video, thumbs up, subscribe, little bell, all that good stuff. Patreon if you want to see exclusive content not featured here on the channel. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe and I'll see you guys on the next one.